All right. Good morning, everybody. I will be bringing Eric in here in just a second. Want to make sure that we have good audio real quick. It's going to be a short show this morning. Got a lot going on in the life of Will Rock, man. I tell you what, it has been. There we go. There's some better volume. It has been a crazy week. Too much going on. So first, I wanted to say congratulations to everybody on the Rocked On Podcast Network, the audience, not us, but the audience for pushing it above 5,000. You guys have unlocked the 500 giveaway every 500 to the end of the season. We're going to be giving away mini helmets every 500 subscribers. So if you guys want to get your chance, we're going to raffle a few off too. But if you want to get your chance in at winning a helmet, please like, share, and subscribe to Rocked On Podcast Network and the All Grit Podcast at the All Grit Pod. So without further ado, let me bring in Eric here. Good morning, Eric. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Will. Doing great.
At least one of us is. So just so everybody knows, I damn near cut off the thumb the other day. Doing good there. That's not the worst of it. As you guys have heard, Honey, who is one of our dogs, yellow lab, 8 years old, we've been battling with her back and forth to the ER, and they totally missed it, man. All the vets missed it. She has like a football-sized tumor in her belly, and there's like dozens of other tumors around it. So Honey will be humanely laid to rest here in the coming days. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. We're just not sure. We're just trying to do the best we can. So it's been a rough week. Very, very tough to lose a family member. And that's what she is. So that's what I'm dealing with. It's been awkward. It's been kind of tough around the house. So this is going to be a short show this morning. I've got some other things that I have to attend to. I hope you guys can understand. And I appreciate all your patience. So we got a few topics this morning. I think right away, let's start out with I guess the biggest news is probably the top 100, but I think I'd like to wind back and talk about the training camp dates. So training camp dates have been announced for this summer, and it appears that, training camp is going to start right around the same time as it did last year. I'm not sure when it's going to be open to fans just yet. I would assume that they're going to be releasing tickets probably within the coming weeks. I'm going to reach out to the rep and see, what they know. I haven't seen anything online. But July 20, all of the team's rookies will report to Allen Park to begin their acclimation to what is their first training camp. Other veterans, even the ones that are dealing with injuries, will also report during this time. And though it is not really required for them to, I'm sure that the Lions will report. Veterans will officially report, though, on the 23rd. So team will take all of their conditioning tests and kind of get ready for team activities at that point. I would assume. So every year, like the first date for training camp has always been on my birthday, July 29. I don't know why, but it seems like it's always on. Oh, wait, here we go. Let me read this right here. The Lions opened up camp. Oh, this is last year to the media on the 23rd, and fans were welcomed into Allen Park on the 29th. Based on training camp this year, it could be a little early. Could be a couple of days earlier this year that we'll be able to get in and see our Lions play. I'm obviously going to try to work as hard as I can to get that media pass. I know it's a little late in the game, but we'll try to get it. It's really hard to get. I try every year, so we'll see. Got to keep being positive. Maybe they'll give me a pass if I'm more positive about the Lions, right? I mean, last year was a little tough. So let's get into it this morning. Eric, what do you think about training camp this year? How many dates are you going to make? And of course, Rocked On Podcast Network is going to be giving out tickets again this year. We typically have about, 20 or so, and we'll be bringing some fans with us. This year, we're going to do it a little different, though. I want to meet everybody there and kind of walk in together, do some pictures, and kind of have fun with it. Do some gift bag giveaways and things of that nature in person. So what do you think about training camp? How excited are you?
Beyond excited. I can't wait for this season to get rocking and rolling. I think we're going to be really good this year. And I personally have never been to training camp at Allen Park. The only times I went was when it was down at Grand Valley and down in Saginaw. And I was there the day that Barry didn't show up, and Bobby Ross had to get on the mic and say, "Hey, everybody, Barry's not here. He can't make it today. We'll let you know when he's coming." They just didn't tell us really much of anything at that training camp. But I'd really like to get down for a day or two of training camp this year. That would be really fun. Still lining up which games I'm going to go to. I might just go to all of them. I'm literally thinking about going to every single game this year. I'm in a position now where I can afford to do it and where I have the time to do it. So I think there's only one game I know that I absolutely can't go to because I have tours scheduled for that day because it happens to be on a Thursday. But other than that, I think I can do almost every game. So I'm hoping to go to every game this year and possibly go to a day or two of training camp. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that will be great, man. Pack it in. This is going to be an excellent season, at least from what we've seen. But to start the season, both the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams could be inserting brand new kickers week 1. So as we know, the Lions open up against the Rams this year. The Rams will start their 2024 campaign in the same fashion that the prior season, and taking on the Detroit Lions. So it's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, it's going to be a matchup that everyone's going to want to be at. But the fact that the Rams drafted Stanford's Joshua Carty, who, I wasn't as high on him as I was Richard, however you pronounce his last name, but they took him in the 6th round of this year's draft. And typically when you take a kicker in the draft, I mean, that unless something happens with injury or, they just come in and completely crap the bed, which is not happening, that player is going to start. So it looks like the Rams are going to have a new kicker in the Lions with all of the, transactional things going on in the past week with Jake Bates, and now the release of Turner. So the Lions kind of turned their head on Turner, which I said I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to turn my head on Turner. He's been having a great offseason. The Lions decided to part ways with Joshua Turner. So this is shaping up for Jake Bates to win a position against Michael Badgley. So any comments here on, the transaction here, letting Turner go? And where do you see now Jake Bates lottery? Are the Lions going to be able to start a new kicker week 1?
Yeah, I was really surprised with the release of Turner. I thought they would bring him into camp and have this 3-way competition, at least for a week or two, see what happens, make it a little more sporting. And if anyone was going to be released, I thought it would have been Badgley getting the boot. He's already had the chance. He's already been here 2 or 3 times. The one surprising thing to me was that they gave Jake Bates a 2-year contract. And I wonder if that's what they had to do to get him over versus like the Packers, because the Packers are going nuts that they did not get Jake Bates. Their fans are absolutely crazy about it.
Yeah, I initially thought that they wouldn't carry 3 kickers. I really felt like they wouldn't tie up 3 positions on the 90-man roster because we have such a loaded roster. I thought initially, though, that, if they were going to carry that many into camp, it would be a quick decision. Like, who's going to battle? I mean, first week, like, you've got to pare it down. I mean, maybe even the first few days, pare it down to 2. But the Lions decided to go ahead and start this training camp with just 2 kickers, which, quite honestly, I think it's a great move. I think it's a great move for a couple of reasons. One, 90 men on a roster seems like a ton, but when you are as loaded and as deep as the Lions are right now, it is going to be extremely hard to find 53. But when I look at this roster, it's hard to find 60 to really, that you want to keep, which means that our practice squad is going to be really deep as well. And maybe there's an opportunity, for Turner to end up on the practice squad, but I doubt it. I just don't see that they're going to keep 2 kickers, on a practice squad. I think they'll probably try to keep 1. But what does this contract mean, right? So you mentioned that they signed him for 2 years, and they did. His base salary for this season is $795,000. I'm sorry, $895,000 is the overall salary in 2024, where he'll earn a base salary of $795,000, which I believe is the league minimum. He gets $50,000 guaranteed. He got a signing bonus of $50,000 guaranteed, and he gets a roster bonus of $50,000. So if he makes the 53-man cut day, he gets an extra $50K. He's a total cap hit of $895 on the season. Now, I don't know how all of these breakdowns work. I've been told in the past that even though they get this large salary, right, $795, but that's game check salary. So right now he's getting $50,000 for the summer. in 50 grand if he makes the roster, and then he'll get 795,000 spread out over 17 games, which, I mean, that's a heck of a salary still, but he's only getting 50 grand to kind of, boot it through the summer. So then in 25, base salary of 960, another signing bonus of 50, which is guaranteed. So he did get the whole 100, I believe, up front though this year. And then he gets a workout bonus of 75,000, cap hit of 1.085. So all in, right around $2 million to Jake Bates. And I think that, last week I mentioned the devil's in the details, right? So I think that they did pretty good by this guy. I mean, he gave him 100 grand guaranteed, right around $1 million a year. I think that's a pretty darn good contract for somebody who hasn't kicked in 3 years and only played one season in the UFL, where he's actually kicked. So, did they really invest a ton? Sure. I think that they gave the guy, a great opportunity. I think that they really invested, quite a bit with a 2-year deal. You don't see that very often for somebody that is unproven. Now, he had, cups of coffee with the Texans and another team, a couple years ago, but nothing ever panned out. So what do you think about the contract?
Yeah, I really like it. And I think that the Lions went over the top. I think everybody else that he went to, the other 4 teams that he went and met with, they all told him, hey, we'll give you 1 year minimum. I don't think any of them were really trying like the Lions did. And I think the Lions went over the top of everybody else, and we snagged him from the Packers, just like Brian Branch and just like Arnold this year. So
yeah,
suck it,
so,
Packers.
Yeah, in comparison though, when you look at his contract, and this is why I felt like they did right by him. Badgley has a 1-year deal, total value $1.152 million, but he has $425,000 in guarantees. So if the Lions cut him, they're going to lose that $500,000. James Turner obviously had a 4-year undrafted free agent contract with a 2024 cap hit of 795, but only 2,500 in guarantees. That blows my mind. Like, I wouldn't even put on a jersey for $2,500.
Wow.
I wouldn't do that. There's just no way. Like, I'll let you tie my shoelaces for $2,500, but there ain't no way that I would play for an NFL team with $2,500 in guarantees. I don't even know how that even becomes a thing in the NFL. Like, that is, I'm sorry, Lions, that's kind of laughable. Like, you got to take care of these guys. I mean, they're out there putting everything in to help you win a championship any which way they can. Put some cash in these guys' pockets, man. I mean, they work extremely hard to do this. So that's about the only negative thing I'm going to say. But I think that's kind of laughable. And this is by, over the cap, and some of this information coming from Pride of Detroit. So I haven't vetted all of it. So I guess when you look at Bates' contract, he's third. He's third in the Lions UDFA rookie class, but he's second on the team, as far as kicker contracts, and not including punters. And I don't know how it fares against the rest of the league, but at the end of the day, I think that the Lions invested quite a bit when you look at Turner's contract. So any other notes on that?
No, just I can't wait to figure out what Bates' number is going to be so I can order some jerseys.
Yeah, you like to order those jerseys before they make the team, don't you?
Yeah. I even have I got my bets the other day. It's awesome.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, to wrap that up, Lions waived kicker James Turner in place of newbie on the block, Jake Bates. I think that he's got a big chance. I really do. I think he really does. Give the Lions a better opportunity to make some of these bigger kicks at bigger times throughout the season. So, hey, good morning to everybody in the chat. We've got Rick in here. We got Shadow Viper 619, King SJ coming all the way from Toronto. We got Dave Smith in the house, Michael Garrity. Good morning. Big Moose 88, Mike P's in the house. Got Chef Talks Lions all the way from Australia. Put another shrimp on the Barbie, eh? We got Daryl Bell. Sorry, I had to. Who else is in here this morning? John Doe is in the house. I don't think anybody know who John Doe is, right? I mean, that's the toe tag name. Tracy's in the house, of course. Good morning, Trace. Who else is in here today? You guys are active this morning. You got Mike Garcia, Salty Pork Chops. Good morning, everybody. So appreciate you guys being patient with me this week. Again, it's been kind of a rough week. So let's get into. We've gone through training camp. We've gone through Bates' contract. I think the biggest news of the day, thanks to Eric for bringing this up this morning, the top 100 players by Pete Prisco. I think who's did it? Yeah, Pete Prisco. Top 100 players, CBS. Pete Prisco is a writer for CBS. Put out the top 100. Can anybody guess before I tell you? I would put in a Q&A or a poll, but take a guess at how many Detroit Lions made the top 100 list. That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, do you think Sam Laporta or Jared Goff made this list? And should they have made this list? All right, Salty Pork Chop says 6. Brent says 5. King SJ says 7. He cheated, though. Dave Smith said 7. Chef Talks Lion said 0. Michael Garrity said 7. All right, now second question. Do you think Jared Goff or, even a better question, Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, or Lee McNeil? Do you think any one of those 3 or all 3 or 2 of the 3 made the list? Daryl Bell says 8. I like where his head's at.
Yeah.
Chef Talks Lions. Jordan Love was definitely on the list. I didn't look at any of the Packers. I don't know if he was or not. All 3, says Michael Garrity. They all made the list. That's according to Michael Garrity. Aleem and Goff, according to Dave Smith. All right. So without further ado, Lions had 7. And you won't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe it. Lee McNeil made this list at 89. Jared Goff made this list at 76. Sam Laporta made this list at 58. Frank the Tank Ragnow made this list at 56. Aiden the Grinder Hutchinson made the list at 47. Amon-Ra the Sun God St. Brown made this list at 39. And Panay Oh So Sweet Sewell made this list at 17. So hell of a list. And according to Pete Prisco, Panay Sewell, I guess before I get into that, what's your knee-jerk reaction on 7 Detroit Lions making Pete Prisco's top 100?
Well, there's 32 teams, and the Detroit Lions have a 7th of the teams in this list on the list. That's just
7%.
Crazy.
Yeah, 7% of the list.
Yeah, that's just nuts for one team to have that many. I'm sure there's a team or two that has 1 or 2 more, but that just shows you the gluttony of riches that the Detroit Lions now have. Because anytime you would have seen one of these lists in prior years, we have 1, maybe 2. One, yeah. maybe 2. 2 was a good year when we'd get Hutch and Amon-Ra, and they'd be 90 and 99. Or Hutch and Panay Sewell, and Panay Sewell would be 90 and Hutch would be 99. That would be where they would slot them in just to have someone from the Lions on those silly lists.
So, I'm really disappointed that Jahmyr Gibbs is not on this list. Like, really disappointed. And I don't know what other running backs that were rookies from last year that made the list. So I didn't look that hard at it. I mean, I guess I could take a peek right now, but if there are any other rookie running backs on this list besides, here, I should probably go all the way to the end, besides Jahmyr Gibbs, it just wouldn't make any sense to me. And yes, Jordan Love did make this list at 87 behind Jared Goff, which right move. I'm not sold on Jordan Love just yet, but let me take a quick peek here. Let's see if there anyone pops out. Brock Purdy made the list too at 85, again behind Jared Goff. Who else is in here? Any other running backs that made this list over Jahmyr Gibbs? Puka Nacua made this list at 66. He's going to be a player this year, especially week 1, that we're going to be fixated on. And I'll be watching him closely this year. I want to see what he does, but I just have a feeling the Lions are going to have a plan for Puka Nacua. Early prediction, Puka doesn't get more than 50 yards in that game.
Ooh.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Matter of fact, I don't see any running backs in this list so far. I might have skipped over a couple, but I don't see any. The fact that Aaron Rodgers is in the top 20, I mean, come on. Get real.
Yeah. McCaffrey was at the top of that list.
Okay, so that makes sense. McCaffrey. I mean, he makes sense. I mean, he's done it, right? But I don't see any other rookie running backs in here. So I guess I shouldn't be that angry.
Yeah, but I seriously think that Gibbs is only one step behind McCaffrey, and he's only a second-year player. I think he has all the potential to be the next McCaffrey. I really, really do. This kid is electric.
Yeah, he is. Chef Talks Lion says, Will, you are breaking news here. We have converted a Packer glazing writer, Pete Prisco, for CBS, actually putting Goff over Love. Yeah, I mean, is it the sign of the times? I mean, look, the other maybe not so interesting conversation here is PFF, right? I mean, PFF, they've been all over the place. And last night I caught part of a podcast where they said that the Bears had the best draft out of the NFC North and potentially the league. And I wrote in. I mean, I was like one of the first comments. I wrote in, I said, are you nuts? Did you not see what the Lions just did? So the Bears got two players, and only one of them, Rome Odunze, is worth even a cup of coffee at this point, coming into the league. But Caleb Williams, I mean, really, you're thinking that those two players outshined the Lions? I don't see it. But then again, I guess when you look at what the Lions did this year, I think we know what we have, but I think the rest of the league just doesn't understand it. They still don't trust in Brad Holmes. But not to get too far off here. Penei Sewell at 17. Pete Prisco says now entering his fourth season, he has emerged as one of the game's best offensive linemen. He is massive, athletic, and can maul in the run game. He has it all. Last season, he was number 66. So that is a 49-point jump for Penei Sewell. Yeah, I agree with him. But when he says one of the game's best offensive linemen, I hope he means one of the top three, because I think Penei Sewell might be the best in the league. I think there's a couple of really good linemen out there, Tristan Wirfs being one of them. But I think the Penei Sewell could play left or right tackle any day and do it at a very high caliber. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 100.
Oh, we lost Will. I don't know what's going on. Oh,
there we go. Apparently we just lost internet for a minute. Sorry about that. All right, so Amon-Ra St. Brown, oh Jesus, had 119 catches with 10 touchdown receptions in 2023. The best numbers of his career. He is a reliable player in the Lions offense and was rewarded with a big contract this year because of it. Last season, he was listed as the 83rd best player in Pete Prisco's top 100. Aiden Hutchinson, in his second season, last season, he continued to show that he is a dominant pass rusher. He had 111. No, he had 111. He had 11 and a half sacks. But he was among the league's best in terms of pressures. He has to get better against the run. I would agree with all that. I think that Aiden does lack in the run game. He dominant in the pressure category, just not finishing. I think that those numbers are a little bit too far apart when you look for efficiency. I think that this year, Aiden Hutchinson is going to be much better with his efficiency, and he's bulked up. He's ready to rock and roll. So I'm really looking forward to Aiden's best season in season 3. Frank the Tank Ragnow says, or Pete Prisco says, the veteran center is coming off of his best season in the middle of their outstanding offensive line. He is impressive in the run game, but more than holds up in pass protection. I don't know of any other centers in the league that are better than Frank when Frank is 100% healthy. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't name one. Not a single one.
I just don't see anybody else really being better than Frank.
Yeah, he's a warrior. And listen, he had all these toe issues and knee issues. He got rolled up on a bunch of times, and he still, they couldn't take him out of the game. He demanded to go back in.
I would say that when Jason Kelce was playing like that, I mean, that's a pretty good matchup. If you were to take Frank Ragnow and Jason Kelce at their best, peak performance season, I think it'd be a war, absolute war. Creed Humphrey from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I don't know. He's really good. I don't even know much about Corey Linsley. But again, his run blocking grade was pathetic, 64.9 last year. Frank Ragnow, he's holding down 74 plus PFF grades the past 4 seasons. I don't know. I think that there'd be a good fight between him and Jason Kelsey. Maybe Creed Humphreys is the top dog right now. Maybe he is. So Frank's in the top 3 for sure. But now that Jason's gone, top 2. We just need Frank to stay healthy. We need to see him at his best this year. I think that he wants to see himself at his best this year. He had a pretty rough offseason, man. He was feeling it. To your point, rolled up on. I mean, he banged up a knee, an ankle, before the final game there, and yeah, you can't pull him off the field. You absolutely can't. Sam Laporta at 58 as a rookie, he established himself as one of the best receiving tight ends in the league. I agree. 86 catches, 10 touchdown receptions. He is scratching the surface of what he can do as a receiver, which is scary for opposing defenses. I couldn't agree more with that last statement. He has barely scratched the surface. And I'm not expecting a sophomore slump per se. I'm not saying that he's going to have, another 86 plus catch season and, 10 plus touchdowns. I also don't believe it's going to be needed. I think that we're going to be, more depth at having other players contribute to this Detroit Lions, team here in 2024. Jared Goff at 76. He threw 30 TDs, 12 picks in leading the Lions to the NFC Championship game. Goff has quieted a lot of critics, and probably including Pete Prisco himself, with his play in Detroit, and earned himself a big contract earlier this year from the team. I'm not going to go into a topic that's going to be on the All Grit pod, but make sure you check out the All Grit pod tonight. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday, right? So make sure you guys check it out tonight. He's got a very interesting topic that he's going to be discussing tonight about Jared Goff and another player in the NFL. And a statement. I mean, a statement to, is Goff worth it? I'll just leave it at that. Ali McNeil at 89. He had his breakout season in 2023, flashing ability as a run stopper, but also as a player who could push the pocket inside. He had 5 sacks, but I expect that number to be higher this season. Now, I didn't see DJ Reader on this list, probably because he's coming off of a major injury. But the fact that Ali McNeil is able to assert himself as a pocket pusher and somebody that can also get home to the quarterback next to next to DJ Reader this year, I think that Ali McNeil is going to severely increase what he's able to do. Not just a small blip. I think that there's going to be a big increase on what he's able to do. I think his performance this season, if he stays healthy, will rival anybody else in the league. I think that Ali McNeil is going to have that good of a season. Hoped by early predictions reign true, but I see only more for him. And the fact that Terrell Williams has come out and said publicly that Ali McNeil is a young player, and there's a lot more that can be taken out of him and put onto the field. And that's exciting. The fact that he views him as a young player still, and a lot more that they can kind of pull out of him. Anything you want to say on these 7 players? I mean, any which one? Sam Laporta, Jared Goff, Frank Ragnow, Aiden Hutchinson, anybody.
Well, like you were saying about Sam Laporta, that you don't expect him to get 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns this year. I kind of expect that he does get 10 touchdowns this year or more. And I expect that he gets more yards after catch, maybe less catches, but more yards after catch. And that's something he was really wanting to work on this year, was getting more yak. And I think that's from being around the Yak King, Mr. St. Brown. He's infectious, and he gets everyone thinking the same way as him. And, when Ben Johnson was talking about Sam Laporta, he was talking about how this guy's coming in being like a 4th, 5th year veteran, that he's not thinking about the playbook anymore. Now he's focused on the job at hand and getting the yak and making sure he makes the catches and staying healthy, and the things that a veteran can concentrate on, not just trying to learn the playbook like last year. So I think we're going to have a really good season out of Mr. Sam Laporta. He's the one I think is going to surprise everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he really surprised a lot of people last season. Can he not have a sophomore slump is going to be the question. Can he evade that sophomore slump? I don't think it's going to be. I think his work ethic is too good. I think that he constantly works on his craft. That's a shout out to Chris Spielman because he can't stand people saying that they're working on their craft. But I think he's constantly working to get better. And when you seen him come in this season for OTAs and mandatory minicamp, he looked slim in a good way. He looked like he dropped a lot of baby fat, probably eating a lot better and making the right decisions. So I think that there's a lot that we should expect from Sam Laporta. I'm just not saying he has to be the best tight end in the league this year, stats wise, to be successful for the Lions. I think that the ball is going to be able to be spread out, as it always has been, but even more so this year, especially with the rise of Jahmyr Gibbs in the pass game, which we're expecting and hoping is going to happen this year. We expected it last year. It did not come to fruition. Comment in here by, let me back up here. Where did it go? Okay. Comment by Rick says, the list I saw yesterday had Frank at number 2 behind Humphrey. The writer also claimed that Frank was fully healthy in 2023. I mean, this writer clearly doesn't have a clue. Not only is Frank not healthy any season because he has to deal with that plantar plate issue where there's zero cartilage. It's not fixable. It's constant pain, or at least what I would think would be constant pain. I don't know what Frank goes through on a daily, but he gets his rest every week to help manage some of those things. He definitely wasn't fully healthy last year. And he said as much, at the end, kind of press conference and media availability at the end of the season. He was not healthy. And then he got rolled up on, I think twice. Was it twice in the second playoff game in Tampa Bay? It was the knee and the ankle. Wasn't it in Tampa Bay only?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he got hurt in the Rams game. I think it was all Tampa Bay, but definitely wasn't healthy going into the last game. And he still played an incredible game. Yesterday, I put out a reel on the Facebook page showing or highlighting a play of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And now that I've seen, like the no block, no rock that I put out that video, I've been paying more attention to the clips that I watch, and just watching Amon-Ra St. Brown, like he not only will get a block at the line, but he will work his way downfield if he can. But that clip that I put out just kind of highlights, and I'm going to try to highlight Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, is, they really take blocking serious, and they know how important it is, and what Dan Campbell wants from them is to block. And if you don't, you're not going to get the ball thrown your way, just because you got to earn it in this league. And part of being in this offense is helping the rest of your players be successful, the rest of your teammates be successful. But the more I watch clips of Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is always getting in there, always getting dirty. He freed up Monty in a handful of clips that I watched yesterday to get those extra few yards to get that first down. And that's, I think, part of the reason, that Amon-Ra St. Brown is a little bit undervalued in this list. I feel like he should be higher. I really do. I mean, I'm glad that he's ahead of players like Brandon Aiyuk and such, but I think that he should be higher on this list for everything else that he does. Not only were his stats amazing, but he's helped other players on his team have some of the stats that they have. So I'm glad that we have players like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, I wasn't excited about, the contract. I think it was really big, but it's also deserved. And I think that's the trade-off, right? It's well deserved. He is now the leader of that room. And I think that he's only going to continue to get better. And now he carries a different style of a chip on his shoulder that he feels like he's going to have to prove it to everybody. Once again, all over. The clock just started at 0 because he just got, a ton of money. And now he's worried about what people are going to say, on the outside if he starts to have a bad season. So anything you want to say to that? And then we'll get into, you had some information on Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, I absolutely love St. Brown. And right now he's over in Germany promoting the Detroit Lions. So he's going to like soccer games and stuff over, I don't know what, the World Cup or something over in Germany. And he's like our brand ambassador or whatever over there. And
nice.
Doing some cool stuff for the Lions right now. So I like seeing the stuff on his Instagram and his Twitter account that he's over in Germany spreading the word of the Lions, getting some more people to be Lions fans over in Europe.
Yeah, he's part German, right? His mom was German, I believe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he really likes that. Well, not just the language, but the people over there and the country, and really enjoys being over there. So I think that's cool, man. I think it's really cool that he takes these things on and supports the Lions in more ways than just on the field, but off the field. I mean, it's the true mark of a leader, right? John Doe had a comment in here talking about our defensive tackles and said that our defensive tackles are deep. Ali McNeil, Levi, Broderick, Wingo, Pascal, Kaminsky, sometimes all play inside. So yeah, we are very deep. This is going to be a very tough training camp to kind of attach yourself to players that are going to stick around. I think that we're going to have some tough cuts this year, and I don't think that Broderick Martin will be one of them. I think that it's probably, I hate to say Kaminsky, but I mean, if he could be on the outside looking in, if the Lions don't keep an extra defensive lineman here. Also, Morale Tarantino, Mr. Morale Tarantino joined the chat. So good morning, guys. So what do you got on this Brandon Aiyuk news? What's happening here?
Like all these guys online are talking about Brandon Aiyuk coming to the Lions because the Lions are one of only a couple of teams that have enough cap space left to actually sign the guy. And he's looking for an Amon-Ra type of contract.
Right.
And, we could do it for 1 year, but what are we going to do next year or the year after? We can't afford two guys making 30 plus million a year. We just can't do it. And to me, it's ridiculous. Some of the trades are like, oh, let's trade JMO and a future draft pick for Aiyuk. I don't think he's worth it myself. Is he a good receiver? Yes, but he's just he's very similar to St. Brown. He's not a big, tall, lanky guy. He's not the super speed guy like JMO. I would rather just stick with JMO. Let's develop him. Let's see what he can do in year 3. I'd rather stand pat than try to pull Aiyuk here. And I really don't like the skipping OTAs and doing everything he can to force a contract. You know what I mean? I like it when the players are like St. Brown, where they show up, they're not a distraction, they're not a problem, and they still get their contract. They do things the right way. I like players that do everything the right way.
So I think that this is like the wishful thinking fans that talk about this stuff. There's a big difference between being realistic about your team and in the fantasy. And I think that's the problem with fantasy leagues and fantasy football is it kind of puts in Madden. I mean, people that play Madden, I think it kind of puts them in that mind frame or mindset of, well, we can have anybody we want. We can have anybody on this team, or, we can get all of these great players and, all of these defensive ends, and you can't. Monetarily speaking, it doesn't make sense. If you want a team that is going to be good for, a decade, which is the goal, right? I mean, you want to have long-standing, sustained success that we've never had. You could blow all that out the door with bringing in a second extremely high paid or wanting to be highly paid receiver that's asking for similar money to Amon-Ra St. But there's no way you could pay a quarterback 55 and 2 receivers combined $60 million and then sign Hutch next year and potentially Aleem McNeil combined at another 50, 55, 60 million a year. There's just no way. It doesn't work. The math doesn't math. From a character and player perspective, yeah, I mean, it would be great. I've said this before, and I know it would never happen, but if you wanted a dream team, that would take players to say, look, I just want to win a Super Bowl. So pay me $1 million and let's go win a Super Bowl. And then you could assemble a dream team for 1 year, but then you have all these misfits, right? You have all these culture issues and all these people that maybe don't fit together, maybe don't know how to play well together because they're all independent. They're all really good at what they do. So they all expect everything. And that's the hardest thing I think to, deal with probably as a coach or a general manager is people's attitudes. And the Lions are doing it right. So they're doing it by assembling a culture-based team that's oriented around doing the right things, working hard, don't expect anything but give everything type of mentality. And I agree. Bringing in a guy like Brandon Aiyuk is only going to disrupt that, because now you've got two alpha dogs in a room. I mean, they're all alphas, but you know what I'm saying. Brandon Aiyuk is going to want the ball. If he's already crying and having problems in San Francisco, why would that change in Detroit? I don't think it would be a good fit. But I think that people need to step back from this fantasy world of fantasy football. I mean, they're all great ideas. Don't get me wrong. They're all wonderful opinions. But I do believe that it's, I guess there's a big divide here on what can actually be done and maybe what should be done. And I think that the Lions are doing it right. So shout out to Adam, $4.99 super chat, says, we are in the Super Bowl. It is 4th and goal from the 5. And the TD allows you to win the game. A field goal allows you to send the game to OT. What is your choice? So 4th and goal from the 5. How much time is left, Adam? I think that's the first question. How much time? How many timeouts?
2 seconds left or something. No.
Yeah. Is this like the last play of the game? And I guess, we'll just assume that everybody's healthy. We'll assume everyone's healthy. We're not missing anybody. Once he gives me a little bit more parameters, and thank you for the $4.99 donation and supporting the channel. It's much appreciated. You guys, I mean, everybody in the audience, everybody, listening, watching right now, the subscribers, you guys are truly the best sponsors and supporters of this channel. And that's without donating, just showing up, man, just liking the stream, liking the videos, sharing the videos. That is what I mean by support. That is the best support you could ever give. YouTube can take care of the rest on their end. All right, so Adam says it's the last play. So we're talking no time on the clock. It is the last play, and we are on the 5. And we are in the Super Bowl. Man, this is a tough question. It's a tough question because I think that I've said this before. Why would you want to take a gamble in overtime of winning a coin flip? You have a 50-50 shot of winning a coin flip. And then you have a chance of where if you don't win and that team goes down and scores, game's over. If they score a touchdown, right? And that's what's happened to the Lions. It's happened to them too many times. So that feeling kind of comes back into this. But if I'm totally oblivious to all of that and I can stay neutral, I honestly am probably going to want to trust my offense to go in and get it done. Man, that is a tough question. And see, this is why it's so hard for coaches, and they have to make these decisions in less than 15 seconds. From the time that ball is placed on the ground, they have to make a decision in 15 seconds or less without calling the timeout of what they're going to do on that last play. Okay, so playoff OT, that's right. You're guaranteed to see the ball. So just like I would trust my team to go in and win the game, I think you send it to OT. You're guaranteed to get a shot at the ball. What's the difference of being on the 5 versus, well, I mean, think about it. I mean, I guess, Eric, what would you do? You're on the 5 versus you get the ball back, probably on the 35.
Yeah, if it's from the 5, Dan Campbell kicks the field goal, forces overtime because he's going to see the ball in overtime. And if it's from the 1 or the 2, Dan Campbell goes for it. No question. He doesn't even think about it. He just goes for it. He trusts his offense. From the 5, that's kind of iffy. That's a big play right there because everything is condensed down in the end zone. They don't have a whole lot of room to move around. So you're either doing a big package where you're running the ball, which they might do, and then the other thing you're trying to do is have a tight end like Sam Laporta block for a second and then try to get free and give him that little off pass over the top, little jump pass or something. And man, from the 1 or the 2, I say yes, go for it. But from the 5, you're kicking the field goal and forcing overtime.
So here's where I'm at. I'm going to go opposite of that, and here's why. If you're at the tail end of the game, I'm just going to assume the other team doesn't have timeouts. And you've probably already had the discussion on the way down the field. Hey, look, if we get into a position where it's last play of the game, we're going to go hurry up offense. We're going to go. So you go hurry up offense. You trap the defense on the field, and you've got your play in already. You already know what your win play is. and you probably have 2 or 3 sets that you're going to call, right? So you've got Sam Laporta in, you've got Gibbs in, you might even have Monty in, but you're going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown in, and then you're going to have your hands guy in. So is that JMO? Is that a taller wide receiver? You're going to have somebody that has bigger, better hands, right? I think you're going to roll for it. I think that you're going to put the defense on their heels because they're the ones that are going to be scrambling, right? They're the ones that aren't going to have a clue as to what to do. And you've got all the pressure on your side, all the momentum on your side. I think you just go for it. I think you go, hurry up, you go for it, you win or lose, put your Steelies on the line. But that's just me. I think that you could make a lot of arguments for this. Like you said, if you're on the 5, maybe you pooch it. If you're on the 1 or 2, you definitely go for it. I mean, clearly you've got a much better opportunity from the 2 to smash it in, with a running back. I think from the 5-yard line, you're probably throwing a quick pass. And we know this about Jared Goff. He is one of the best to get the ball out in under 2.7 seconds. There's been plenty of reports coming out this year from various writers that have said they can't, and even Mark Brunell, how incredible that Jared Goff's accuracy is. So I wouldn't worry about the accuracy. I wouldn't worry about the pass. I wouldn't worry about, getting sacked or anything like that. We got the best offensive line in the league. I'm assuming that everybody's healthy. Yeah, I'm going to run down the field. I'm going to go hurry up, get everybody up on the line. Maybe they jump off sides, and then, you get an extra play at it and some time to think. But, yeah, I think I'd roll for it, man. I think at the end of the day, no matter what Dan Campbell does, no matter what any coach does in that situation, they're going to get read the riot act if they lose. Whether they lose in overtime or whether they lose right there, in regulation. No matter what happens, they're going to get read the riot act. Now, based on what happened last year in the NFC Championship game, maybe Dan Campbell just chooses to go to overtime no matter what and then ride, his defense, because we're going to have a really good defense this year. And that would make the difference, right? So if your defense is playing really well and you can trust your defense to go in and get a stop, and all you have to do is go down and kick a field goal, then it would make more sense to roll it into overtime. So I think that there's a lot of things that are unanswered with that question. Like, we'd really have to know how the team is playing and, who's in, who's out, who's healthy. There's a lot, but we'll assume that everyone's healthy. So good stuff, Adam. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And what if the Lions were dominating the whole game, both offense and defense, but they got lucky with a kickoff return and some guy returned it for 99 yards, and then they're up by 3 with 20 seconds to go, and you get the ball back at the 5. So that, that could be what it is, So that might play a factor as well, how the other team was doing the entire game.
So I see the note in here about the overtime rules have changed. So I didn't realize in the Super Bowl, they were talking about different rules in overtime for the Super Bowl. So the previous system was the same as the one still in place for regular season games. It's basically a modified sudden death system that gives each team at least one chance to score, with one big exception. If the team that possesses the ball in overtime scores a touchdown, not a field goal, then that team wins, which is what I thought. So that's the way I understand it. And that's as of February 11th, 2024. So did they change anything since then?
No.
Because I always was under the impression that if the first team that possesses scores a TD, it's over. Then they don't get a chance. So I'm wondering if and that changed as of March 29, 2023 to implement that rule, the modified sudden death rule. So did they change it again in meetings this year? Did I miss that? If anyone knows, I'm not going to have a ton of time to go research it today, but anyway, I've got to get rolling this morning. I got a doctor appointment, some things to do. So you guys have been great this morning. Eric, any last words for everybody today?
Yeah, sure. I can't be here tomorrow. I can possibly be here on Friday, but tomorrow I won't be here. So we'll be solo, and maybe Chef can fill in for me or something tomorrow. And heading down to Toledo. I'm going to do some talking about rocks today. So if you guys are in the Toledo area, come and see me at the Toledo Rock and Gem Club down there.
So I just posted the rule in the chat here that was as of February 11th, 2024. But either way, wonderful question. I think that there's so many different ways you could do it. But understanding the rules is half the battle, right? I mean, I've got to get studied up before the season, and I will. But all the changes in that, take some time for us to get adjusted to. But you guys have been great this morning. Over 60 people in the Rise of Grind morning show this morning. Good show today. Great to see you back, Eric. I'm always happy to be back. But life and duties call today. You guys have a wonderful morning. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. And then Chef Talks Lions, the All Grit Pod on YouTube at the All Grit Pod. Please like, share, and subscribe to that channel, and look forward to his content coming out. I should be on tonight unless other duties call with Honey. So you guys have a great day. Enjoy it. Go Lions. Go in pride. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.